All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Dillon Danis said that he was up in Paige's what? All right, so Paige Vanzant getting put on blast by America's favorite troll, Dillon Danis. And I'm going to be honest with you. I saw this, which I'll show you shortly, and he's saying some very inflammatory things about a married woman, you know? Paige is married, and yeah, you're not supposed to do nasty things with other men when you're married, and Dillon is saying that that may have happened with her, and he's going to destroy her marriage, and we're going to go all through all that. But here's the deal. It's in response to this video right here that we're going to watch of Paige Vanzant, and yeah, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at what she said. I have not watched it yet, so we're going to see what she said that made Dillon Danis angry. Then I'm going to show you Dillon Danis attempting to blow up her marriage, and we're going to have commentary about it. I'll show you, you know, probably get into some stuff about her OnlyFans, I would imagine, because there's some news about that also. And I am sure that we'll have time. So I'll tell you a couple of the most horrific stories of people finding out that their wives are having affairs that I've ever heard, because those are entertaining stories. I love hearing stories like this. I don't know why, because I'm a sick person. Now, I don't enjoy when it happens, though. So if you're a person who agrees with me that people who get caught cheating should have, you know, like a really bad time in divorce court versus these no-fault divorces where, like, a chick can literally get caught having 5 affairs and the dude still has to split his assets evenly, even though he did nothing wrong. If you disagree, or in reverse, if you think that law is stupid, then I agree. So you should subscribe to my channel and like this video. So I assume you guys will probably like him also. So that's what we're going to do. Now let's just jump right into it. Let's see, what did Paige Vanzant say that set Dillon off?
I know this is not a completely fair question because you're not transitioning straight from MMA to boxing, but we've seen fighters make that same jump from MMA to boxing. Dillon Danis recently, and it doesn't go their way.
Dillon Danis is not a fighter. He's not a fair comparison. But
there are other examples. I was more referring to
Give me some
misfits.
other examples of MMA fighters.
Ben Askren.
Not a fighter.
I mean, yeah, that's a tough one.
That's a tough one too. He's a wrestler. Nate Diaz is great. Yeah. Nate Diaz.
But when he made
George
the switch to
Masvidal.
boxing, Masvidal, yeah, when he made the switch to boxing, it didn't go his way.
So I think a lot of people try to compare my career to UFC veterans who leave the UFC because they
It is insane how different her face looks to me than when she was first on the scene, dude. And what I mean by that is just like, I can always tell, like, if a girl, I could and still can always tell, like, how like jaded a girl is when it comes to like dudes, like how much experience they have with guys, and the less that they had, the more I was like, I'm staying away from that girl, you know, like obviously it's when I was single, like when I was in college, you know, whatever. Cause I was like, the way I looked at it and the way I still look at it is like, if you knew or know that you're kind of like a scumbag, you know, like you're out on the hunt, you're looking for girls to hook up with, whatever, but you know, you're not looking for a relationship like at all. You're hopefully I can have sex with 3 girls this weekend guy. So if you could put eyes on a girl and you know, this is a girl who does not have a lot of experience with guys, you stay the fuck away from that girl. I don't see it as very different from like a teacher hooking up with a 16-year-old that's in their class. Like obviously that's much worse. That's a crime that you should go to jail for, but not dissimilar ethically the way that I look at it. That girl, it's going to matter a lot to you, to that girl, whether they're 20 and you're 20, whatever. It's going to matter a lot to that girl. If you hook up with her, and if it's going to matter 0 to you, then you're a fucking piece of shit if you hook up with her. And when Paige Vanzant was first on the scene, that's exactly what she looked like to me. Like she looked like an innocent girl, like this, you know, like this is actually not that good of a picture. She looks like she's got, you know, a little bit, but like when she was first on the scene, she looked like a baby in her eyes to me, you know? And this version of her is like, whoa, dude. She couldn't look more different in that regard. If it's like she's a different person in the way that I'm talking about. Like her eyes, she literally looks like a totally jaded porn star, for lack of a better way of putting it. Like that's what her eyes say to me now. And you know, obviously that's not like totally off base given that she makes all her money with sex work on OnlyFans, but you know, whatever. Anyway, let's continue. Now, I do realize I read something about she had this really gnarly experience when she was in high school with guys, kind of, I don't know. I don't even actually want to talk about it. It makes me uncomfortable. I read the article and I was like, Jesus. It's probably, I don't know, man. Like that kind of thing, it's like, high school girl, I'd fucking kill every single boy involved in this if that was anybody related to me. Anyway, let's just finish this and then we'll get into Dillon Danis.
The UFC because they either get cut or it's the end of their career. I left the UFC when I was 25 maybe, and 25 years old. I wasn't 40. I didn't have 100 fights under my belt. I was still young in the career and young in my sport and young in my discipline. I just turned 30. I have many, many more years to compete.
For the record, she is a fucking savage, okay? Let me just make that perfectly clear. She's a savage. I was only talking about, like, do we think that she might have fucked Dillon Danis? The answer is yes, I think that is very possible.
A lot of the MMA fighters who leave the UFC are leaving because they have nothing left except for competing in other ventures. I'm choosing to do this. I could choose to do absolutely anything that I want to do. I'm choosing to box.
Right. And did you choose to fuck Dillon Danis? That's the question. That's the question of the video. Did you choose to cheat on your husband with Dillon Danis? That's the question. So here's what Dillon Danis responded with. He said, how fast they forget. Haha. Relax, Paigey baby. Just because I didn't wife you doesn't mean you have to be petty. Don't make me bring up our 2 trips to Vegas and ruin your marriage. Ooh. Now, I'm going to be honest, dude. That doesn't sound impossible to me. Look at what that is. That is Paige Vanzant all up on his timeline, loving his picture from Vegas. Now, he could be framing her. You know, he could be being petty and framing her. Or he might have smashed that up something mean. Now, to say that Dillon Danis is not a fighter is stupid, because he is, and it's not like he hasn't competed in MMA, and he was looking exceptional in MMA, and then he tore his knee into a million pieces and missed multiple years. He's not a boxer, but that's very different than not being a fighter. Of course he's a fighter. He's a world champion jiu-jitsu practitioner who fought in MMA and beat the shit out of both guys, not just with jiu-jitsu. He also punched a guy in the head 1,000,000 times in his second fight. Like, I don't understand the Dillon Danis is not a fighter thing. Like, that shit makes no sense to me whatsoever. It's ridiculous. It's just stupid. He's not a boxer. That's not the same thing. But does that mean that he's telling the truth about Paige? Definitely not. But does it mean it's not true? Definitely not either. You know what I mean? He's pretty specific about their trips to Vegas. I'm just saying. Now, why is this coming up? We'll talk about that really quick, and then I'll tell you guys some fucked up stories about... I'll tell you the worst story of all time. I've told it on the channel before, but I'll tell it again because it is literally the absolute worst way you could ever find out that your wife is having an affair outside of walking in on it, dude. It is the most fucked up story in human history. I'm telling you that right now, and it's going to deliver. Now, speaking of that, Gabrielle and I have a new show on our channel, Play With Matches, which you can see right here. And by complete coincidence, definitely not why I'm doing this video, we did a video right here, Nightmare Fuel, walking in on her. And this is walking in on Gabrielle banging another guy. Obviously, I did not walk in on Gabrielle banging another guy, but we're talking about people walking in on their wife banging another guy and what happens, so on, so forth, etc. So if you're interested, the link to our new channel is in the description. And I think, dude, people who used to love my channel, Jesse on Everything, are like, oh, this is just Jesse on Everything, except you're doing it with your wife. I'm like, yeah, exactly. And then we talk about like relationship stuff too. You'll love it, dude. Go give it a look. Link is in the description. Anyway, but so like this is what it is in response to. So Paige Vanzant and Elle Brooke, they are doing an OnlyFans star fight on Misfits Boxing May 25th. Looks like, you know, her private getting ready dance. I think this is all OnlyFans shit, whatever. Dude, honestly, you want to set up a fight? You want to know who should fight now? Dillon Danis and Paige's husband, you know, because bottom line, whether it's true or not, right? He said it, right? He said Austin should want a piece of Dillon, dude. He said that he banged your girl indirectly, but pretty much. He said he could destroy your marriage because of trips to Vegas that they took together, you know. I can't think of many bases for fights that would be more deserving than that, right? Great matchup. Austin's a fantastic wrestler and a total savage. Dillon Danis, fantastic grappler, total savage. I think they should set it up in PFL. I'm just saying that's what I would do if I was the PFL promoter, and I would sign Dillon before he gets signed somewhere else. But I know Jake Paul's kind of your money bag, and he is at PFL, and you feel like you'd be, you know what I mean? I don't know how that goes, but that would be common sense if you want to sell pay-per-views. PFL, if you want to sell pay-per-views, you sign Dillon Danis fast before UFC does. That is what I would do. Get a clue, okay? You need to throw all other things to the side aside from, will we be able to sell this fight? You guys need a jump start. There's your jump start right there. But anyway, so yeah, here it is. Elle Brooke against Paige Vanzant. I can't wait to see the weigh-in. I would imagine they're going to be wearing either nothing or lingerie. Should be pretty funny. And also, I'm excited to watch the fight also because I love watching people fight, especially two hot chicks. All right, so now I will bring you to one of the most horrific stories that you could possibly imagine. If you've heard it before, I bet you want to hear it again because it is seriously that fucked up. All right, so this story, it's one of my best friends in the world, okay? So this dude has a terrible track record with girls, okay? Like, he did well. Like, when we were all single, he's like, he did very well. But when it came to relationships, this guy's track record of bad luck is like unmatched. Every single girl that he has ever been together with has cheated on him. Every single one. When he was in high school, the girl he was with all through high school hooked up with another guy and he found out about it. Okay. And I think that broke his little teenage brain because he went into every relationship subsequently like the most jealous, psychopathic maniac ever. And he would accuse them of cheating so many times that, like, this is my opinion, that the reason why they all ended up cheating on him was because he would just literally drill it into their head every single day. You're going to cheat on me. You're going to cheat on me. It's like Inception. You know what I mean? Like, if you tell a girl she's going to cheat on you enough times, eventually, like, it just is like all you're doing every time is creating this environment of like, yes, you cheating is possible. Like, you cheating is possible. You cheating is possible. And eventually they did. So every time it happened, it just made him more crazy. Okay. So he constantly did that to every single one of his girls. So him and this girl had been together for a long time and they broke up. He had been single for like, I don't know, maybe like a month or two. He lived in San Francisco and he meets this girl whose name I'm going to call him, geez, I don't know. I'm going to call him Lucky and I'm going to call her, Smash. What? Lucky and Smash. Okay. So he meets this girl, Smash, right? She is an investment banker. All of this is every part of this is true outside of their names. So Smash is an investment banker. Okay. Makes a ton of money, is hot. Like, it's like on paper, amazing. She had a boyfriend for 7 fucking years. Okay. She had the same boyfriend for 7 years. Her and that guy had broken up 3 weeks prior. My boy had broken, I say a month, but like could have been 2 months, whatever. Like, he was very recently single and she was like within the last few weeks single. They meet, they hook up, and literally instantaneously they are inseparable and they're together. Okay. And she's taking him on this like 2 or 3 week trip that she had already had planned with this other guy. It was literally like the way that I described it when he was not listening was I was like, dude, it's like he's like a cardboard cutout that she just inserted into her life. Like, she had this guy that was there for 7 years and they broke up. And before she could even recognize that she was single, she just got this other guy and just inserted him like a puzzle piece into her life. Okay. So just the very beginning of it was all very bizarre to me because they were so serious so fast where you're like, this is weird, man. And ultimately they end up getting married. Okay. So they get married. I don't know, maybe, I don't know how long after, but they had been married for a long time at this point. So let me think about this. So this incident when like their marriage blew up was in 2021. This was the beginning of 2021. Okay. So when they got together must have been around 2015. So I think they had been married for about 5 years. Okay. So they had been together for 6 and married for 5, is something like that. So they have a kid. They have another kid. Throughout this whole entire relationship, everybody knows they're like, dude, they hate each other. Like, they hate each other. They don't just like when they would come to parties that we were, and like, I'm talking all the time. This is one of my closest friends in the world. Like, he's in my most inner circle of friends. And anytime that we would all go to parties together, people would comment after, they'd be like, dude, it looks like Smash and Lucky like really don't like each other. Like they can't even fake it, man. Like when they're together, it's like you could see anytime they had to interact with each other because something was going on with their kids, it was just like tension, you know? And obviously the guys who know him really well, which is all my circle of friends, would be like, you don't understand what it's got to be like to date him, man. He's fucking crazy. Like he is batshit crazy. He will wear any girl down. And we already thought she was crazy because she just inserted him into her life so fast when they first started dating. And she had that kind of like crazy look to her. She was still super hot though, dude. 2 kids and just came back to just as hot. No problems there. Anyway. So getting to the incident at hand. So my friends and I, when I was still in California, and they still do it now, once a year we go to this place in Northern California. My buddy has this like, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a fishing ranch. And they had a timeshare there. It's the most unbelievable campsite of all time. There's no one within miles and miles. And there's like running water and you go there, you fish, you shoot guns, you do whatever. No one could hear you no matter what. Like you could do anything. No one can hear you. It's so far out in the middle of nowhere, but this place is incredible. So we would go there once a year for this weekend. And that weekend was coming up. So my friend from Southern California, I lived in the Bay Area at the time. Smash and Lucky lived in Sacramento. My buddy from Southern California was coming up to go to the thing. He flew into Sacramento and he was staying with Lucky and they were going to drive up and I was driving up from the Bay Area. I was going to meet them there. So I'm sorry. No, I was going to pick both Smash and Lucky. I'm sorry, not Smash. I was going to, God, I'm getting, you know what, whatever. My friend from Southern California, his name's fucking Colin. That's his real name. So I'm picking up Colin and Lucky in Sacramento on my way up, right? So the morning of, okay, like the fucking morning of, and Lucky is fucking notorious for flaking out on this shit, right? Like he is the king of, dude, I can't go, man. Turns out I can't go. And we would just fucking brutalize him until he would be like, okay, fine, I'll go. So everybody is like expecting him to try to flake out, right? So that morning, I'm getting text messages from him at 6:30. Like I wake up at like 7:30, and I already have text messages from him saying he can't go. And I'm like, you have to be fucking kidding me. The day of. And so I'm calling all my other friends. I'm like, dude, he's trying to fucking bone out. He's like, don't fucking let him. I'm like, I'm not going to let him, dude. So I call him and he's like, he sounds not good. You know, like he sounds really not good. And I'm on the phone with him and he's like trying to like talk to me, but I can't even understand what he's saying. And I get a text message from Colin that's like, no, dude, this is actually really serious. He's not going. And so I'm like, so what's going on? And he's like, I'm getting a divorce. And I'm like, you're getting a divorce? And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I don't want to. He's like, dude, I can't talk about it, man. He's like, I'm going to bring Colin to yada, yada. You come meet there, pick up Colin, and I got to go. So he goes and drops Colin off at this restaurant, and I pick up Colin, and we go up to Northern California to go to the thing. So I am obviously very curious what happened. And Colin tells me the story, and it is the most fucked up shit I've ever heard. So what happened was, because Colin was coming into town, Smash had left with the kids. Okay, so it's just Lucky and my buddy Colin, and Smash took her kids to her mom's house. So while Colin and Lucky are at the house, the kid's iPad had updated. Okay, so the kid's iPad updated, and somehow Smash's fucking iCloud was the one that was connected to it, and when it updated, it turned on her iMessage. Okay, so iMessage was not on there, but now it is. Obviously, she has no idea that her fucking message is on, but it's on an iPad device that is at their house. Lucky picks up the iPad and he's playing with it, and he comes over to Colin. He's like, dude, he's like, tell me I'm wrong about what I'm looking at. And Colin looks at this, and there is a conversation in iCloud that is actively going on at the exact time that he's looking at it. And it's Smash and her fucking side piece. Okay. She literally had just had a kid. I think fucking, dude, I want to say like 6 weeks before this. Like they had a brand new baby. Okay. A brand new baby. And by the way, Lucky is Italian. The side piece is black. So we know for 100% sure that the kid is not the side piece. It is my buddy's, and it looked exactly like him. But I know that's what everybody's gonna be thinking. It's definitely my buddy's kid. But in this conversation, okay, like They are definitely banging. They've definitely been banging for a long time. They're having this dirty ass conversation. And when what removed all doubt was when the dude, because she can't bang right now because she just had a kid. Okay, like who the fuck is talking to a girl who just got, like she was 9 months pregnant like a month ago. Who the hell is like, who's still lurking around a chick who was 9 months pregnant 5 seconds ago? It's fucking weird, dude. If I was a single guy and I had some side piece that was married, which for the record is a fucked up thing to do, but like, and then she got 9 months pregnant, bro, I'm fucking out of there. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you're having a fucking kid, like, plus a chick who's pregnant. How is that hot? So the back and forth that happened specifically was he said, man, I can't wait until I can bottom you out again. And she responded, haha, I can't wait to get bottomed out again either. So that removed all doubt of what was going on. And if you're unfamiliar with that term, bottoming out means that the length of your penis is longer than the length of her lady parts. And so you hit the back. So she got bottomed out. So her black side piece had bottomed her out many times, obviously, per the tensing of the conversation. And both of them were exclaiming their excitement about when her lady parts would be prepared again to get bottomed out by her black side piece again. So, and that was the end of their relationship, obviously. So when Lucky found this out, obviously he doesn't go to the trip and he's home with his phone and he is sending text messages to her. I mean, like try to imagine that situation. You just had another kid. It's a second kid with your wife and you find out that, right? So we called him to check on him, right? Like I called him and I'm like, how are you holding up? You know? And he's like, not good. And I'm like, I know, but like what's been going on? He tells me what's been going on. And I'm like, what I need you to do is I need you to send me screenshots of every single thing that you've said to her today. So he sends me the screenshots and I'm looking at this and I'm like, my face is turning white for him. I'm like, oh fuck. So I call him and I'm like, okay, I cannot stress this enough. This conversation, you need to unwind this right now, dude. I'm like, you have to understand this chick she is not your wife anymore. Like right as of this moment, she is the other side of a courtroom and every single thing that you send her is going to be used in court and you have to unwind every single fucking thing that you just said here. Like, I'm going to write you a text message and you are going to copy and paste it and send it to her verbatim without changing a fucking word. Not one. You can't change a punctuation point. Consider me your attorney. And I wrote this whole thing out to like nullify the psychotic shit that he had sent her that I knew once they got into divorce court would be for 1,000% used against him. And so I put that and he did exactly that. And, you know, it actually ended up kind of like diffusing a situation that would have been much worse for him. But nonetheless, understandable. You know what I mean? Understandable, horrendous, like over emotional reaction that, you know, I mean, fuck, dude. I've heard of people killing both of them and then themselves in a situation like that. You know what I mean? Like that's a thing that happens. Anyway, so that is the worst story I've ever heard about a person finding out that their wife was banging another dude. And, it's funny now because he's got a new girl and she's awesome. He's actually in Australia right this second with a new girl who I hung out with when we were in Scottsdale. And she's actually really fucking cool. So it all works out for the better now. But bottom line, if you have a bad relationship, maybe just get out of it before that ends up being your end zone. So that's what I got. I love you guys. Bye-bye.